All right, so I want to tell another section of Israel's history, and I want to talk a little bit about the fall of Judah. So the last video was about the fall of Israel and then what kind of Judah was experiencing at the time, and this one is going to focus on Judah's downfall. So Israel is long gone. They were scattered and taken into captivity by Assyria. And we left off in the last video kind of talking about Hezekiah and how all of the walled cities of Judah had been destroyed by Assyria, but Jerusalem remained. And then even with Hezekiah's back up against the wall, Sennacherib all around, the Assyrians all around, ready to destroy Jerusalem, Hezekiah repented, humbled himself, sought the Lord, and God rescued them. Okay, so fast forward, some different kings. Here's what's happened in Judah's history since. They experienced a wicked king named Manasseh. And during this, I think he reigned for about 55 years. During his reign, God was constantly calling the people, repent, turn from your wickedness, and I will extend mercy. And they didn't. And so during Manasseh's reign, God told them, your fate is sealed. You watched Israel experience the ultimate covenant curse of exile, and you have chosen not to believe that I will do it again to you. And so your fate is sealed. However, they end up with a godly king Josiah, right? And so because they go through a season of a godly king, God spares that generation from the coming exile and the coming punishment, even though their fate was sealed with Manasseh. And so kind of where I'm going to pick up just with a little bit of this history is now we have a guy named Jehoiakim who is king, and he is also an ungodly king. And this is the prophet Jeremiah has been sent by God during Josiah's reign and during Jehoiakim's reign to constantly be telling the people, repent. Jeremiah ministers and is preaching this message for 40 years. Talk about the patience of God. For 40 years, he is giving them a chance to repent. But they don't. And so eventually God tells Jeremiah, let the people know that their exile is coming, and it's going to come at the hands of the Babylonians. The Babylonians are going to come. I am going to use them to completely destroy and send you guys into exile because you've broken the covenant. So Babylon is actually going to come exactly like God said and prophesied through Jeremiah. He is going to come, and he is going, that nation and Nebuchadnezzar is going to take the people of Jerusalem back into Babylonian exile in 3 waves. Okay. So the first wave, the first kind of deportation comes in 605. And this is actually, Babylon takes the youngest people. So they seem to kind of had an intentional method. They come into the city and they take the young Israelites, and Daniel and his friends are the ones who go into exile at this time. So I want you to just be thinking, the book of Kings is telling some of the story. The prophet Jeremiah, the book of Jeremiah, is telling some of this history because Jeremiah is continuing to prophesy in Jerusalem while Daniel and his friends are already taken in that first wave to exile in Babylon. So I just want you to be thinking about how these books are overlapping. So when you're reading the book of Daniel, what Daniel and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are experiencing in Babylon is one thing that's going on, while Jeremiah and the people left in Jerusalem are experiencing a different history at the time, okay? The second wave of exile is going to take place 598, 597. And this is when Babylon decides to take kind of the high-level leaders that are left in Jerusalem. And this is when Ezekiel is taken into captivity. So you think about the book of Ezekiel and his prophetic ministry. Ezekiel gets taken into captivity. And when you read the book of Ezekiel, he is actually prophesying to the to the Israelites in Babylon who are in exile, and he's trying to encourage them and speak to them and tell them what God expects from them and wants from them in exile. Because when Jeremiah was prophesying to the people in Jerusalem before this even happened, he told them, listen, not only is Nebuchadnezzar going to come and I am going to use him in Babylon to punish you all, but your exile is going to last 70 years. They were given a very, very specific prophecy of their exile lasting 70 years. And Jeremiah tells them from God, here's what I want from you. I want you to submit to your discipline. Submit to the yoke of Babylon. Submit to your discipline. And I will, at the end of that 70 years, restore you. And And that's just such a powerful thing and such a powerful message. And again, trying to keep these 5 minutes, I can't go into all of the heart aspect of this and all of the practical application, but I'm just so passionate about us knowing this history because it's story. It's story, and it's their story, and it's our story. And it's very hard sometimes to read 2 Kings and be able to put all this together or understand the heart implications. It can be extremely difficult to read books like Ezekiel that has all this weird visions and apocalyptic language, and even the book of Isaiah. Like, it's not an easy read. And so sometimes I think we miss this history and how their story is our story and their struggles are our struggles. And so anyway, there's more to this story and more to this history, but I'll leave it at that for now.